D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? And have I got a story for you? Now, also down below, you can find the articles that I read to bring you this video, and you can read it for yourself, or you can just watch this video where I'm going to read it to you. I also want to say that before I get started, that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so now that we got all that jazz out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get started? Now, this article comes from Giant Freaking Robot, and it started over at the New York Times, but they want to charge you to read their articles, and I'm like, fuck that noise. I'm not paying to read your article. But it says, okay, so it says Jason Blum and James Wann, who I just talked about in my last story, are ready to create a horror empire. It says Jason Blum and James Wann are merging their companies, Blumhouse and Atomic Media, into a horror powerhouse. Look at these guys. So it says Jason Blum and James Wann are two of Hollywood's top horror movie producers. Ain't that the truth? And according to Variety, the pair is in advanced discussions to merge their respective production companies, Blumhouse and Atomic Monster. Should the merger go through, the move would create a horror empire over at Universal Pictures, where Blumhouse currently has a first look deal. Atomic Monster just concluded a similar deal with Warner Brothers over the summer after almost a decade. And then it says, the partnership between sorry guys, I got a little bit distracted. The partnership between Jason Blum and James Wann would greatly increase the company's horror offerings, and Atomic Monster benefiting from Blumhouse's existing infrastructure to further scale activities in film, television, and even video games. That sounds amazing. The primary goal for both companies is to considerably increase output from both sides, according to the New York Times, the article I had mentioned. If you have the New York Times, like you subscribe to them, you can go and read that article, for free. If you don't, though, they only let you read it. They only let you read, I think, 3, or maybe it's 5. Or maybe it's 10. I don't know. They only let you read a handful of articles for free, and then they're like, we're going to start charging you now. And I'm all like, what? Do advertisement, asshole. Blumhouse would release a minimum of 8 horror movies in theaters annually. That's so many. Which is nearly double what the company typically delivers in any given year. That's a lot of horror movies. Let's see. Okay, sorry, I was just checking to see how much. One of Harrison Ford's best thrillers is leaving. Oh, sorry, I'm reading these highlighted parts. They need to stop doing this on these articles. Anyways, Jason Blum is currently the most successful horror movie producer in the industry. I would agree with that 100%. With his company Blumhouse Productions generating around $5 billion at the global box office, thanks to blockbuster franchises like Halloween, which the new one was awful. That Halloween Ends movie, terrible. The Purge and Paranormal Activity, which I don't care for those movies. The Paranormal Activity ones, the first one's good. I don't like the rest of them. And The Purge, the first one's good. The rest of them are okay. Anyways, James Wann, of course, is the mastermind behind horror hits such as Saw, which I only like Saw the first one. I like the first one, and then that's it. The rest of them are all trash. And The Conjuring. Love The Conjuring. And both those films serve as launch pads, incredibly lucrative franchises since 2004. The Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom director and Blumhouse have a combined box office of $11.6 billion. Good for them. I cannot wait for Aquaman 2. For years, Jason Blum has built up his company by recognizing terrific ideas from talented filmmakers. He told the New York Times that he doesn't have a single idea that he could make into a horror picture. James Wann, on the other hand, has been the brains behind several successful genre offerings, including Dead Silence, Malignant, and The Nun. He indicated to the outlet that he has such a large number of ideas bouncing around in his head that it's more than he can take on by himself. News of the potential merger between Jason Blum I'm going to get to my ideas on my thoughts on this, but give me 2 seconds. And James Wan comes right on the heels of the announcement that former DC film boss Walter Hamada, which I just did the thing about, has been appointed to oversee Paramount Pictures' upcoming line of horror movies. Beginning next year, Hamada will oversee all the studio's genre offerings, which we already talked about in that one, which will consist of several mid-budget horror flicks releasing annually in both theaters and Paramount Plus. While working on Warner Brothers Discovery, Hamada produced dozens of horror titles, including the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street remakes, which were not good. Several entries in the Conjuring universe and 2007 adaptation of It and Lights Out. It was good. Lights Out was not good. Whatever. Anyways. The horror business is clearly alive and well, with Jason Blum and James Wan likely joining forces very soon. Business is about to be booming, and the duo's respective companies, Blumhouse and Atomic Monster, recently partnered on the forthcoming flick, Megan, which I'm personally excited about, which arrives in theaters January 6, 2023, and centers around an artificial intelligence doll. We're hoping that the upcoming feature is just the first of many collaborations between the two horror juggernauts. Now, on to my thoughts on this. I think this is a good idea, and basically what it is, and they're keeping the companies still separate, and they're doing their own thing, but they're minimizing their output into their cost in terms of how many people they have in their office. Like they're excuse me, they're sharing the same office space on the lot of Warner Brothers, I believe. Don't quote me on that. So they're sharing the same office space, and then they're condensing their people in terms of how many people they have. And I think that that's great. It minimizes your cost in terms of people. I mean, I feel bad if anybody loses their job, but that's the price of business. But then they still get to put out these movies and benefit from it. They both benefit from what they put out, and they both and then there's little in terms of paying for, like I said, office space, all that stuff. Now, this also is great in terms of output of how many movies they're going to do and how much money they're going to make. Horror movies are really cheap to make, in terms of movies go. They're cheaper than anything else, and you make a lot of money back if the movie is good. If the movie's terrible, then nobody's going to go see it. You won't make your money back. But I think this is a good idea. And first off, I love James Wan. I think he's very talented. And I think Jason Blum is talented in the producing. I think that for the most part, I like a lot of the movies that he's put out. I mean, there is some clunkers in there, like that Fantasy Island movie. Oh, what a terrible movie. But I do think that he's got an eye for talent. And I think that this is very good in terms of business. I think that this is a great choice on both of these men's parts, and I wish them all the best, because I really, like I said before, I really do like James Wan a lot, and I hope this works out. Tell me, what do you guys think about all of this? How do you guys feel about Jason Blum and James Wan combining their companies, but also keeping them separate under one, powerhouse? Do you think this is a great idea, a bad idea? Do you like Jason Blum's produced movies, his horror movies? And then how do you feel about James Wan's movies? If you don't like James Wan's movies, that's weird, I think. I love his movies. I think he's such a great talent. And he's a really fun guy if you watch him in interviews and stuff. I like him. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So yeah, tell me what you guys think about all of this. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind if you mention, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week. You guys have a good week. Bye.